What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Doodle. We're back again with an NFL game preview. So in this game preview, we're talking about the Rams versus the Cowboys. This game is at 10 o'clock Pacific time. I'm from the West Coast. In Texas, Cowboys home game, second home game of the year for the Cowboys, and they're going up against a tough Rams offense that is leading the league in scoring. I believe they lead the league in yards per play. They're humming right now as an offense. Sean McVay has taken Jared Goff and made him look like a great quarterback. This offense is playing really well. Todd Gurley leads the league, I believe, in touchdowns. This team is really overall humming. Their defense is playing catch-up. They are in a new scheme with Wade Phillips at defensive coordinator, so they are running a 3-4. Aaron Donald just came back from his holdout, so that guy's a disruptive force on the defensive line. But moving forward here, let's go ahead and talk about this game. Now, both teams are coming off wins. The Rams won on Thursday night for the first game of Week 3, and the Cowboys played on Monday night for the last game of Week 3, and they also won. Now, taking a look at this Rams team here, you got the Rams offense scoring 35.7 points per game here. They hung 41 up on the Niners. They hung, I believe, 48 on the Colts in Week 1, and I think that they put up 20 plus or 30 plus in the game against the Redskins in Week 2 that they lost. So what we're seeing from this Rams team is an offensive coach taking over, and a young offensive coach. Now, this is the youngest head coach in the NFL at 32, I believe he is, or 34. Who's taking over this team. On paper, they don't look like they have a lot on paper. But when you see what he's done, he's made this offense look like the greatest thing since the greatest show on turf. Yeah, he's turned Goff into a great quarterback, making him make smart reads. He's finding his guys. He's not turning the ball over. This offensive line is revamped with the addition with Andrew Whitworth at left tackle. He's keeping the blind side safe. And the Rams look like the best team in the NFC West. Don't shoot me, Seahawks fans. All right? They look like the best team in the NFC West. We will see when they play the Seahawks again. The Seahawks, maybe the Cardinals. Cardinals don't look like the same team without David Johnson, though. But going into that. Now, on the flip side, we got the Dallas Cowboys here. Now, they're a team that is a young team on the offensive side of the ball. They're playing a lot of rookies in their defensive secondary, and these rookies have played really well. Jordan Lewis has looked pretty good. Haven't really seen much of Chidobe Awuzie, and we've seen a little bit of Xavier Woods playing in the slot as a slot corner because they're down a bunch of corners and playing a lot of sub packages. So got a lot of young kids around Sean Lee. DeMarcus Lawrence has emerged as a pass rushing threat. I believe he leads the NFL in sacks with 6.5. And this offense really hasn't been clicking. Last year the Cowboys were one of the best teams on third down. This year they're really pedestrian. And they're putting themselves in bad down and distance situations. Now, if the Rams are able to keep the Cowboys on bad down and distance, you see what's been happening. This Cowboys offense is not moving. Dak is having to throw the ball more because of that, which leads to bad things happening on the offensive end, turnovers, sacks, bad field position, playing the bad field position game. Now, looking into this matchup with some key matchups here, we're going to have Jared Goff the Rams offensive line versus the Cowboys defensive line. Now, this Cowboys defensive line is a surprise right now. They are first in the NFC in sacks with 11.5 probably. DeMarcus Lawrence has 6.5 sacks alone. He's been wrecking right tackle's days. I think he had 3 on Monday night. It's been a great year for him. He's in a contract year, so that also helps. The addition of Andrew Whitworth, as I mentioned earlier, is boosted that offensive line in L.A. Of the Rams. And he'll be going up against Taco Charlton, Benson Mayowa, DeMontre Moore, guys like that throughout the day. But he's a veteran, so he knows what he's doing. Another key matchup is going to be the Rams secondary versus the Cowboys receivers and Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott, he was 13 of 18. He only threw 18 passes last game. Wasn't able to get much going. They haven't sustained a long drive like they used to, and they're struggling a little bit in the run game. Now, their Cowboys are at their best when they're able to get Dak Prescott rolling out, using the play action, getting their receivers the ball with space in front of them, and moving the chains constantly. They have not been able to do that this year, staying behind and down in distance, and it's forcing Dak to have to throw early and downs. Now the Rams secondary, they were kind of torched a little bit last week with Pierre Garçon. Actually, Bryant torched them up a little bit. I mean, if you give up 38 points, you're getting torched up. Kirk Cousins torched them up. Chris Thompson torched them up in week 2. They were able to stop the Colts, who don't have Andrew Luck, so kind of whatever. But yeah, the secondary has to improve for the Rams if they want to be able to win this game, especially with the outside matchups. Tremayne Johnson versus Dez Bryant. Dez should be able to win this matchup, but he's going to have safety help over the top. That's where Jason Witten and Cole Beasley come into play. Terrence Williams moving the sticks. Bryce Butler a little bit. You get Zeke going in the passing game. Now, the third matchup here is going to be the Rams' run defense versus the Cowboys' rush offense. Now, Zeke has not been able to get going the way he probably wanted to through the first 3 weeks. This is the game where he can get going. Aaron Donald is a disruptive force, but he's going up against 2 All-Pros. Chaz Green is playing pretty well this year so far at left guard. I'm gonna predict that this is gonna be if you love trench warfare play in the NFL, watch those matchups right there in the middle. Aaron Donald versus Zach Martin versus Travis Frederick. Watch those matchups; it'll be interesting. The Rams have been gotten a little bit in the run game, but at the same time they're still tough. Wade Phillips is a great defensive coordinator, so watch out for that. I think Zeke can eat in this game. I think he should be able to finish with over 140 scrimmage yards easily. If this offense performs how they're supposed to perform. Now, jumping into 3 reasons why each team will win this game. Starting with the Rams, Jared Goff is able to limit turnovers, which he has done all year. The Rams' offensive line is able to protect him, which they have done all year, as they've only given him 3 or 4 sacks. Todd Gurley is able to get going. Obviously, you need Todd Gurley to get going. It slows the game down. He's averaging only 3.8 yards per carry, but he has over 60 carries in 3 games, so that means he's getting the ball. He has 6 touchdowns. He's getting the ball in the passing game as well. So they're able to get him going. You're able to get your offense going, which helps Goff. So if Gurley's able to get over 100 scrimmage yards, the Rams could be in this game at the end and possibly win it. Number 3, the Rams are able to create pressure on Dak Prescott, which is always a key, but the Cowboys have one of the best offensive lines, which has played pretty average so far, especially in that run game. So if the Rams are able to stop that run game and force Dak Prescott to beat him, the Rams could win this game. Now, 3 reasons for the Cowboys. Zeke is able to eat. If Zeke is able to eat, he gets over 120-plus scrimmage yards, he gets a couple touchdowns, moves the chains, constantly picking up 5, 6, 7, 8 yards a carry. It's going to be a big day for that Cowboys offense. Number 2, they're able to get Dez Bryant going. Now, Dez Bryant has matched up against Aqib Talib, Chris Harris Jr., Patrick Peterson, Janoris Jenkins, and sometimes a safety over the top as well. So if they're able to get Dez just going on some crossing routes, some slant routes, some digs, some routes that get him open in space, where he can run the ball, where he's such a physical ball runner, then they're able to win this game. And he's able to throw up the X once or twice in this game. And the 3rd reason is this Cowboys defense is able to get pressure on Goff. Goes both ways for both sides, but the Cowboys' pressure this year has been great. They've been getting to the quarterback. DeMarcus Lawrence is able to keep getting sacks, so that in turn leads to turnovers, and keeping the offense in bad down and distance. Now, my prediction for this game is that the Cowboys are going to win this game 31-28. They're able to ice the game with a couple first downs at the end of the game. Feed the ball to Zeke at the end, too. Zeke finishes with over 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dak gets 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns to Dez. One to Dez, 1 to Cole Beasley, and this offense is able to find its footing, going 3-1 in the NFC East. Thanks for watching, and I'm out.